Question: explain why a risk can be acceptable at an individual level but unacceptable at a portfolio level. Your answer must integrate pooling, correlation, tail dependency, and risk appetite. 8 marks. Section 1. Interpretation and key points. Quick awareness check. Aggregation versus isolation. A small risk is easy to handle. 1,000 small risks happening at once is a catastrophe. The law of large numbers, LLN. This only works if risks are independent. If they know each other, correlated, the law breaks. The common driver, one event, e.g., a recession, can trigger many individual risks simultaneously. Non-additivity, total risk NIQ, sum of individual risks. Section 2. Logic breakdown. 1. The limits of pooling. Insurance relies on pooling, where the losses of the few are paid by the premiums of the many. This assumes independence. If risks are independent, the portfolio is stable. If they are not, the portfolio is volatile. 2. The correlation factor. When individual risks are linked by a common driver, e.g., a regional flood or an interest rate spike, they become correlated. An underwriter might accept one house in a flood zone, individual level, but accepting 5,000 houses in the same zone creates an unacceptable concentration risk. 3. Tail dependency, extreme events. This is the danger that risks move together only when things get very bad. Individual risks might look safe in normal times, but clump together during a market crash. This creates a heavy-tailed distribution, making the portfolio unacceptable due to the high probability of a total wipeout. 4. Risk appetite alignment. Risk appetite is a top-down limit for the whole company. Even if 1,000 individual trades are low risk, their combined capital requirement might exceed what the firm is willing or able to hold. Therefore, the portfolio is unacceptable because it breaches the enterprise risk management (ERM) limits. Section 3. High distinction model answer. The distinction between individual and portfolio acceptability is rooted in the transition from standalone volatility to aggregation risk. At an individual level, a risk may be acceptable because its potential loss is small relative to the firm's resources. However, pooling, the fundamental mechanism of insurance, only mitigates risk if exposures are independent. If individual risks are influenced by a common factor, the law of large numbers fails to dampen volatility, and the average outcome becomes unpredictable, potentially making the aggregate portfolio unmanageable. Correlation and tail dependency are the primary drivers of this portfolio-level failure. While individual risks may appear uncorrelated during stable periods, they often exhibit tail dependency, where they move in tandem during extreme stress events. For example, individual mortgage defaults may seem random and acceptable in isolation, but during a systemic economic downturn, they converge, creating a heavy-tailed loss distribution for the portfolio. This shift significantly increases the probability of extreme losses that no single individual risk assessment could have predicted, undermining the firm's solvency. Ultimately, acceptability is governed by risk appetite, which is an enterprise-wide constraint. A firm's appetite is defined by its total capital capacity and strategic goals, not the merits of a single transaction. Accepting a high volume of individually safe risks can lead to an accumulation of exposure to a single underlying driver, eventually breaching the portfolio-level risk appetite. Professional actuarial judgment requires recognizing that risk is not additive. A collection of reasonable individual decisions can result in an unacceptable portfolio that threatens stakeholder protection through excessive concentration and dependency.